Dean, Jessica, it was at that deposition that McDonald said he sped down Eubank without looking at his speedometer before he crashed into an Albuquerque family.
I do understand with hindsight that my speed was excessive.
And you also blame Joel Anthony Sweena's mother, Antoinette. Isn't that true?
Objection, forming foundation.
I didn't see her until the last second. I observed that the intersection was clear of traffic.
Hi, this is Eric J coming at you with street news. No, we ain't professional, and neither is Albuquerque police officer Jonathan McDonald, who was fired after he said he was not paying attention to his speed when he smashed into Antoinette's car, killing her 6-year-old son Joel Anthony. So look, according to the reports, McDonald was headed to a Northeast Heights grocery store where a man had threatened someone with a machete when he collided with a car driven by Antoinette Suena, who had her 2 young children with her. A crash investigation found McDonald drove 80 miles per hour north on Eubanks and was only able to brake to just under 70 miles per hour before colliding with Suena's car. Since being hired by the APD in 2008, McDonald had been disciplined in at least 6 driving incidents, including 5 preventable crashes and an unauthorized pursuit. In 2012, McDonald hit another officer's car, responding to a call outside of his area command and driving 50 to 60 miles per hour when he quickly changed lanes without looking. McDonald hit the other officer's cruiser so hard the airbag deployed. In 2014, McDonald hit a stop sign. In the report, McDonald claimed the stop sign was dark because traffic lights were out in the area. McDonald then broke the left wheel off of his cruiser in 2015 after crashing into a curve. Then in 2016, McDonald was following another officer as the two looked for a stolen car. That officer then made a U-turn to follow the stolen car when McDonald crashed into her. In the report, McDonald claimed he did not know he was that close to the other officer. And his most recent wreck was him killing 6-year-old Anthony Joel. McDonald later admitted in a deposition that, "I do understand with hindsight that my speed was excessive based on the CDR and based on my ability to look back at things now." Despite McDonald admitting he was going too fast, he sued Suena, alleging that her negligence caused the wreck. The counterclaim argues that Suena made the left-hand turn without first asserting that this move could be safely made, and further that she failed to give way to an emergency vehicle. Claims he suffered physical and emotional distress, and that the ordeal strained his relationship with his wife and his 3 kids. Sheriff's deputy wrote in the crash investigation, "It's my opinion that Officer McDonald was operating his vehicle at a speed too fast for conditions at the time."
Dean, Jessica, it was at that deposition that McDonald said he sped down Eubank without looking at his speedometer before he crashed into an Albuquerque family.
Take any responsibility.
Yes.
It's the first time we've seen APD officer Jonathan McDonald speaking about what led up to his deadly collision with an Albuquerque family at Eubank and Indian School in April 2017. The crash took the life of 6-year-old Joel Anthony Muma.
He saw the good in everyone. My sweet Bubbas will live on.
Last week, in a deposition for Mother Antoinette Sweena's lawsuit against the city, McDonald admits to going too fast at the time of the crash.
I do understand with hindsight that my speed was excessive.
McDonald was responding to a high-priority call when investigators say he was doing 80 on Eubank right before Sweena made a left turn in front of him. They both had green lights, but APD's rule book says officers must drive with due regard for the safety of all persons. Attorney David Jaramillo, representing the victim's family, points out McDonald's ongoing lawsuit against Suina over the broken leg and trauma he suffered in the crash.
And you also blame Joel Anthony Suina's mother, Antoinette. Isn't that true?
Objection, Foreman Foundation.
I didn't see her until the last second. I observed that the intersection was clear of traffic.
Officer McDonald has been involved in at least 6 driving-related incidents in his decade on the job. APD gave him letters of reprimand for 3 of those and suspended him for 3 others.
Listen, sometimes you have to accept things for exactly what they are. Let me explain what I mean. If your job title says that you're a police officer, then that's what you are. You're not a race car driver. You're a police officer. Your police car is a police car. It's not a race car. The highway that you're driving on is a highway. It's not a racetrack. And the minute you could begin to accept things for what they truly are, then you could begin to deal with them accordingly. Listen, sometimes people need help with this. This is why you can't ignore bad behavior. This is why it shouldn't have took him 6 wrecks to kill someone. When I was young, I used to watch this movie called Police Academy. And I remember before the officers could graduate, they had to first pass a driving course where they would have to swerve in between yellow barrels. They would have heavy water falling down on the windshield. And if they didn't pass, they couldn't graduate. Jonathan, how did you graduate? Who passed you? Because clearly you don't know how to drive. Listen, there's a saying that goes like this. Don't argue with a fool because from a distance you can't tell who is who. And even though you and the guy with the machete wasn't arguing, I still don't know who's the biggest fool. Because there's you, Jonathan, driving 80 miles per hour like a fool to go deal with another fool threatening people at a grocery store with a machete. He's threatening to kill people with his sword, and you actually killed people with your police car that you're driving like a race car. Who's the winner here? Because the only difference between the two of you is you have on a uniform and he don't. But what I can say is he didn't take the life of someone with his butcher knife. What I can say is his sword isn't the reason 6-year-old Joel Anthony is not on this earth anymore. And listen, everybody knows that when the police car have on its emergency lights and its emergency sirens, we need to get out the way. But honestly, if you're driving 80 miles per hour, are you really giving people a chance to get out of your way? And listen, Jonathan, I know when you put your uniform on and you get into your police car that you think is a race car, you feel like the biggest superhero in the world. But guess what? That's all in your head. Superheroes have superpowers. You didn't even have the power to drive. And to sue the mother after you admitted to driving too fast and not looking down at your speedometer, you're not even a good person. Jonathan, you said that this wreck put a strain on your relationship with your wife and your kids. That's not true, Jonathan, and you know it. Your bad driving put a strain on your relationship with your wife and your kids, and your bad driving took the life of a 6-year-old kid named Anthony Joel.